have to admit, I had a major clothing crisis this morning. I walk into my closet and I realized, what is my fashion identity? How do I express myself? And, Wisconsin sensible shoes. I have the black suit, the gray suit, the blue suit. But I realized, wait a minute, is that who I am? Is that how I express myself? And one of the most powerful quotes in Alok's book has to do with the days that I feel most beautiful are the days I'm most afraid. And I realized that courage, right, that you have to express who you are. Do I express my Cuban self, my lesbian self? Do I express truly who I am? And I loved reading the students' lookbooks because I realized some of their questions, like, what does my ethnic identity mean? What does color mean? How do I express who I am? And I love reading those because I questioned, right? Who makes my clothes? Who designed my clothes? Can I trace that? So I wore something I made just because, again, to really highlight what the students have done here today. I get a chance to introduce Alok, and this is exciting for me. Alok is an internationally acclaimed gender nonconforming writer, performer, and public speaker. As a mixed media artist, they work to explore themes of trauma, belonging, and the human condition. And belonging is so much a part of what all the students wrote. They are the author of Femme in Public and Beyond the Gender Binary. They are the creator of the degender fashion. I think there's a hashtag I'm supposed to say, right? Hashtag degender fashion. So I'm honored to present Alok. They will be here all day. This is exciting. Please give a warm welcome on this very cold day to Alok Menon.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy that we're beginning this morning with fashion. We're eating looks for breakfast, it seems. I'm all the way from New York Fashion Week to Madison Fashion Week, right, where it really happens. And I was looking through the lookbook. I'm so excited by the designs tonight. Sort of echoing what you were saying, I see fashion as mobile poetry. It's a way of communicating to the world our unique point of view, the kind of world that we want to see. So I have some poems I'd like to share with you this morning in honor of that and the artistry of our magnificent students today. When I'm 11 years old, my father tells me that the parking lot smells a lot like marijuana. To say that I'm scandalized would be an understatement. You see, I was the prude love child of my middle school's DARE program, which means that I was taught that the minute you consume drugs, you become a very, very bad man. So my father insinuates that he knows the smell. I judge him to be an evil person and tell him to confess immediately or I'm running away from home. My father laughs and says the things you'll never know about my past. I've never asked my father who he dated before my mother. I never asked him about his first kiss. I never asked him what he hoped his life would look like or whether or not that came true. You see, there's this thing that happens when you call someone a father. He ceases to become a person and instead becomes a punchline for everything that you hate about yourself. He becomes a parable, a story that begins with your birth as if on that day 2 new people are born. Everything before this moment is now history, his story. There's this thing that happens when you are trans, when you know you are not a man because you know you are not your father's son. And the moment you tell him this, he becomes everything you are running away from. So in this way, being trans is another way of announcing, I'm running away from home. I never asked my father what it felt like to watch history coil inside of his gut so that every time he laughed, he could remember what it felt like to be young again. There's a VCR tape in the living room drawer. Fast forward to the scene where a man who would have looked like me if I hadn't have run away from my father walks out next to a woman radiant enough to be the sunshine when I first opened my eyes. This is my parents' wedding video. In this shot, my father's best friend tells him that he can no longer be a rebel now that he's a married man. This is how I discover that my father used to be a rebel. When I meet his friends from college, they tell me I look just like him, and I want to say, no, I'm not a man. I mean, I'm not that man. My father laughs at me in the video. The same way he will laugh 15 years later in a parking lot. The same way he laughs when I'm back home and use words like revolution and now, and he tells me that he believes in incremental change. So of course, I accuse him of caring more about his property than his people, and he laughs. And he says that there are the things that happen when you begin to grow older, when you begin to recognize that your body is no longer permanent, which is, I think, my father's way of finally admitting that he was never invincible, that his hands were so sweaty from being afraid of all the ways I began to look just like him that he could never quite hold on to me, which is, I think, my father's way of finally admitting there are things I had to give up in order to have you. I gained the confidence to yell on the streets early on with fighting my father. I've been shouting at him for the past 20 years and calling it a relationship instead of a riot, because maybe that's my way of admitting that I see myself in the flames. And maybe that makes all the difference. It strikes me that I'm covered by this column, so don't mind me, I'm gonna come onto the runway. This next poem I wrote after Leela, a young transported person, died from suicide a few years ago. And it's interesting because I think that, yesterday or this past weekend was the Trans Day of Remembrance, which is an annual event that we take to commemorate all of the murders and deaths of trans and gender nonconforming people. And in 2021, actually, there's a higher number of murders in the US against the trans community than ever before. So it's actually getting worse for us. And oftentimes when people speak about trans people, they focus on what we lack. They say that we don't look right, that there's something wrong about our bodies, and that that's why we're persecuted. But I think what I'm trying to do in my work is say the reason that we're targeted is because we love. We love the parts of ourselves that other people have shame in. Or as I say, your wound is our garden. We have found life here in the places that you've left for dead. And so every time I hear about another death or another murder of someone in my community, I remember it's because they were living a life that was so magnificent, so glorious and iridescent, that people felt like they had to stifle the sun. But like the sun, we return. So this poem is dedicated to all of the trans and gender nonconforming people we've lost this year. And when I think about the relationship between fashion and trans life, when I'm getting dressed every morning, I'm making an altar on my body. I become a living memorial for everyone that was. I'm a celebration because it used to be illegal in places like Madison for someone like me to exist in public. There were anti-cross-dressing laws that would throw us in prison if we didn't wear clothing consistent with our assigned sex, which has always made no sense to me because last time I checked, babies were born naked, not like pants or dresses, but whatever. They'd throw us into prison, and my trans ancestors would be arrested 20 to 40 times. And what they were fighting for was the right to be fabulous. What they were fighting for was for creative self-expression. And so remember that trans life is not just marked by death. We're also marked by such resplendent beauty, and heed our call for a more generous, glorious, and beautiful world. I'm back home in Texas when I received the news that Leela, a 17-year-old trans girl, has died by suicide by walking in front of a truck in Ohio. The article refers to her with her birth name and gender, so I remember that rest in peace is a luxury only afforded to bodies whose violence ends with death. I'm sitting in the waiting room to see a chiropractor, ostensibly to diagnose the chronic back pain I have developed this past year, but judging from all the middle-aged women in the waiting room next to me, I remember that the chiropractor is also a place to be touched, to go through the ritual of allowing a man to caress you again as if he cares. You see, in this town, certain acts of transgression are permissible, as long as they are covered by health insurance or at least have a Bible quote to justify them. Is there a difference? This is the past year I started to publicly identify as trans. My doctor does not know this, but my mother does, though if she could use denial as a pronoun for me, she would. Earlier today, my grandmother tells me that young boys like me aren't supposed to carry so much pain in our bodies. In other words, we're only supposed to be doing the hurting, not doing the hurt. The doctor traces the muscles in my back. He wants an explanation of how it's possible for something to feel so irrevocably broken and yet still be working. It would appear that my doctor regards pain as an exception. What a privilege it is to navigate the world like that, as if pain is something you can pinpoint and eliminate, not the only thing that reminds you that you have a body to begin with anyway. This is the town where I almost killed myself at 13. I did not have the words for it at the time. There's just a tightness in the chest, the tinge in my voice, your Bible bells wrapped around my neck. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew why I was doing it, and that felt like enough. Sometimes I miss that conviction. These days, I have all the knowledge to know why they would have called this a suicide instead of a murder, to rinse your own hands in crosses of the blood, as if we hate ourselves because we chose to and not because you tell us to, as if we kill ourselves because we wanted to and not because we weren't following your instructions, as if we were following God's prophecy himself, on our knees, in his name, amen. I tell my doctor that I slipped and fell, the same reason I allow my mother to use the wrong pronouns for me. The same way I tell people that I'm happier now that I moved away from that small town. The same way so many of us learn how to play pretend as children and never stop. Because it hurts less. And sometimes that's just enough to survive. So for these next poems, I'll be reading from my poetry book called Them in Public, and I'd like to speak a little bit about how I wrote this book. So you can imagine being this glorious in a completely functional 7-inch platform heel, right? Completely utilitarian, Olympic heel. People are just upset because they're not as fashionable as me. So they take it out via street harassment, which I understand is an elaborate way of saying, please teach me how to dress. I often joke that if the world were to end today, my outfit choices would redeem the human species for our horrible aesthetic decisions. And so I wrote this book a few years ago. Every time I would get harassed in New York, I would stop on a train or a bench, and I would write what I wanted to say to the person harassing me. When you are a trans person, you learn that if you defend yourself, people see that as an attack on them. They see our gender as something that is being done to them, not something that belongs to us. And so these poems were the things that I wanted to say, but I couldn't because of fear of my life. And I think that's what art means for me. It's the places that we go when language fails us. It's the only space in culture that we can be honest anymore. I think one of the paradoxes I hold true is that performance is where we actually go to experience real emotions. That's why I'm crying at every rom-com. I don't know about you, but something about the simulation of love makes it more real. And so these poems are devoted and dedicated to those of you who celebrate your individuality, even in the face of adversity. For me, the purpose of fashion is to create a more beautiful world. And that looks like continuing to return to the lipstick and the glamour, even though it'd be so much easier to not. What would it look like to leave the house and not be afraid of being bashed? What would it mean to leave the house and not be bashed? What would it mean to leave the house and not be harassed? What would it mean to leave the house and not be objectified? What would it mean to leave the house and not be gendered? What would it mean to no longer be forced to do the work of gender? What would it mean to own my own body? What would it mean to have a self beyond my body? What would it mean to log online and not be told to die? What would it mean to have people say, I'm here instead of you're fabulous? What would it mean to no longer have to be fabulous to survive? What would it mean to be able to go outside wearing what I want? What would it mean to be loved wearing what I want? What would it mean to be loved from me and not my body? What would it mean to be loved from me and not my body? Is it that I don't remember anymore, or is it that I never knew? I said, is it that I don't remember anymore, or is it that I never knew? Today, a man on the street pointed to me and said, what the hell is that? I wanted to turn around and tell him that I got this dress on sale and I got this body for free, but you've been making me pay for both ever since. To the man who said, you better get the hell away from me or else today on West 15th Street, I wonder if your quest for space was to make explicit the difference between who you pretend to be and who you actually are. I worry about the toll this disconnect is having on you. It is hard to live in a world where our most intimate desires are the ones we are told to repress. I spent the rest of the day filling in the sentence for you, or else I will have to kiss you, or else I will cry on your shoulder, or else I will have to stop lying to myself. I'm sorry that you've been made to fear something as simple as want. I too am afraid of the things I want to the point of need. The truth is, I needed you to finish the sentence. I needed you to know. I need you to understand. You were a stranger on the street, but in that moment, you were every person in my life who wanted to love me, but ended up hurting me instead. To the two men who yelled, that's a man in a dress, hey everyone, that's a man in a dress, while pointing at me on 6th Avenue. I wanted to turn around, point back, shout, hey everyone, That's an insecure man. That's an insecure man. That is an insecure man. But then I realized how redundant it sounded. Like describing a color as a bluish blue, or a fight as a violent conflict. What is a man but a private repression made public, made profit, made policy? What is a man but a question mark so lonely it wrapped around itself so many times it began to resemble a body? I've spent the past 30 years trying to figure out where man begins and where man ends, and what I've discovered is that man only begins where I end. Let me be more explicit. Man begins when I end, or rather, man begins because I'm ended, which goes to say, in order for man to exist, I cannot. Which goes to say, one day I got so confident in myself, I was no longer a man, which goes to say, I have people come out to me as men every day by leaving me behind. It is hard to have your abundance mistaken as absence. It is hard to have your abundance mistaken as absence. So for this final poem, I was thinking, am I going to be the Debbie Downer at the fun fashion show in the morning? Yikes, like that's my plot twist in the world. Everyone's just trying to be happy, and I have an astrological Cancer sign, so I'm just crying in the corner. Like I'm advocating for mandatory journaling at the clubs. Like that's the kind of world I'm in. Small talk at parties and me do not get along. I'm like, let's process our deepest existential trauma. And then I realized, wait, often fashion gets dismissed as something that's excessive or superfluous and superficial. But I actually think fashion for me has been survival. I live in a world that tells me that I shouldn't exist. Every day I have people spit on me, laugh at me, degrade me, and tell me to die. Whenever I log online, I'm inundated with thousands of messages telling me that the world would be better without me. How do I justify being alive? Beauty. Beauty is about looking in the mirror every single morning and saying, I'm worth it. Beauty is about teaching the world, this is how to treat me. I can sit here and complain about how difficult the world is, but ultimately what matters most is what I think about myself. There's so much trauma and pain and sorrow in the world right now, living under so many pandemics, the horrific news continually coming out of Wisconsin. I just read yesterday about the deaths of so many people, innocent people. And I'm just thinking, how do we keep going when there's so much grief and pain? And the way that we keep going when there's grief and pain is through love and intimacy. And so this poem, for me, is about what it means to choose love over fear, and what it means to choose connection under a world that incentivizes individualism. What it means to say that those people that died, they're our friends, that everyone that's being targeted, they're our friends, that we have to develop a kind of empathy that loves and needs everyone, regardless of what they look like. Ultimately, what fashion is in the world is a love poem, an argument that there is beauty here and it's worth being alive. Our train is delayed, and I'm late for lunch with a boy I like because his smile makes me feel a little bit less lonely. And this feels like a working definition for love these days, in a city where it's possible to be surrounded by the warmth of over 1 million apartment lights and still feel cold. The lights turn off, and it's one of those rare moments when we're forced to look up from our screens and remember that we exist outside of them. They tell us that a man jumped in front of the tracks, that he died upon impact, so we sit there in silence as they remove his remains. And some part of us is happy because this is the first time in a long time we've been forced to feel like something greater than ourselves. In the city where sometimes it takes an accident just to remember what the purpose of a body is to begin with anyways. The lights turn on, the train starts moving, and the woman next to me starts complaining, asks why that man can have taken a bottle of pills before leaving the house, how selfish he was to delay others with his own death. And I want to hug her, say, remind me the purpose of arm. I want to love her, say, remind me the purpose of hearts, but I remember that this is America, where bodies fall on streets like discarded leaves, only touching accidentally as we all tumble onto these cities we grew up with, circling on maps saying, remind me happiness, and somehow convinced ourselves that they did. The same way we learned about the borders between countries so well that we built walls around them, call them mine. This is America, where pain is an elaborate ritual we're required to conduct in private, an elaborate symphony on mute. Call it, he lived to be 86 years old. Not, he hated himself for 30 of them. Call it, he died his sleep peacefully. Not, the stroke tore him to pieces. Call it accident. Not, no healthcare. Call it casualty. Not calculation. To live in America is to live in a constant state of illusion. Is to be 30 people underground on a train unable to hold one another and weep. Is to sit there in silence until we can forget just how much death is required in the soil to give birth to such beautiful denial. And I want to text the boy above ground, ask, have you ever been to a funeral of complete strangers? But instead, I look at the woman next to me, the one who just told a dead man to die more considerately. And then I remember that to live in America is to already attend a funeral with complete strangers. How many ghosts does it take before a cemetery can call itself a country? To live in America is to blame the dead for their own death, not the country for creating the conditions that already killed them before they caught up and made things more clear for the rest of us, which is why when I tell the politicians that I do not want my coins to cause more carnage and they call me the threat, I understand. Which is why when I tell him that I do believe in monsters who come out at night, call them men for short, and he tells me that I only dress this way because I want to be bashed, I understand. Which is why when I tell him the same women who started his movements are still being murdered in the same cities he's getting married and calling it momentous, and he gasps and says that happens here in America, I understand. The way we've been taught to apologize for our pain, to erase the hurt, to numb the sadness, to deny that we might have difficulty waking up in the morning, that we may see a pill coming in the place of the train, that we may wonder what it would finally feel like to have someone else empathize for once in our goddamn life, what it would feel like to hold the captive attention of a funeral of strangers. And run back on that train. I want to hug that woman. I want to say, remind me, trust. I want to say, sometimes silence feels like the highest pitch of screaming. I want to say, this is the first time in a long time I've been forced to publicly mourn death, and there is something beautiful about that. I want to say, what if we allow the violence to fill us a little bit less empty, but instead, I'll remain silent on the train. I will say nothing to the woman next to me. I will get off at the next stop. I will have lunch with a boy I like because his smile makes me feel a little bit less lonely. I will apologize for being late. I will not have a word for a type of loss that is so distant it is intimate. After lunch, I will get back on the train. I will remember. I will soon forget. Thanks so much, everyone.
Wow. Alok, thank you. You truly embody the spirit we have here at Madison College of equity and inclusion, and cannot appreciate enough you being here and sharing your story and your fashion with us. So with that, I also want to welcome you to our 5th annual fashion show, Embrace. And what a great way to kick off such a key time in our 5th year anniversary, but embrace your identity. So welcome. We want to welcome you on behalf of Madison College, on behalf of our collaboration. Embrace. Embrace is our theme name, and this is always the name of it. It is embracing our community within Madison College and across the globe. We have a global community, and we honor and we appreciate that. We also really want to take a moment to just congratulate and appreciate all of the hard work that our fashion marketing students do. This is their class. So I really want to recognize and congratulate those students in the class, our alumni who are back to help us out and who have taken that class and are taking care of us. Our cosmetology students in the back of the room who are collaborating with us on hair and makeup. Our photography students who have done the model portraits. Just awesome. In addition, where is Lindsay and Caroline? They are co-directors in our show. So they are also faculty here at Madison College in the fashion marketing program. And I'm Betty Hurd. I'm one of the program directors as well as one of the co-founders of Embrace. So with that, fashion is just one of many ways in which we express who we are. And like Lucia had mentioned, and like Alok mentioned, it's just who we are. And I feel most comfortable in maybe not the outfits that are fashionable in someone else's view, but the ones that make me feel warm and comfortable inside. And it's like, okay, yep, I can get up and I can do all the things I want to do every day. So I think about fashion so many times in that way. But fashion is just one of many ways It's a visual way that we present ourselves. Our stories, Alok's poetry, the stories that you're going to hear in a moment of each of our students. And we have outside community members and alumni as part of our models. So this is an amazing collaboration, and we just appreciate everyone so much. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Bernie Hose, our incredible master of ceremonies, who's going to read the stories and let the show begin.
Fabric Reimagined, Odin Larson, he, him. This look, modeled and designed by Odin Larson, is made up of a classic tweed fabric. The fabric was upcycled from a thrift store and made into a two-piece matching set. It has elements like the turtleneck and an A-line silhouette of the shorts that keep the look sophisticated. Elements like the ribbons on the belt sleeves and platform sneakers add flair. This outfit reflects his identity because he finds himself thrifting unique pieces and adding his own design to it. His everyday style consists of funky, vintage garments and fabrics mixed with the current street style. Conscious shopper, Kaylin Reardon, she, her, hers. This outfit was purchased from different local boutiques in Savannah, Georgia. It incorporates my identity through a love for travel and supporting small businesses. I am as bold and equally as delicate as this dress, as unique as the gold snake earrings. More importantly, I think this outfit identifies the clarity and honesty within the supply chain of small businesses versus the larger corporations and fast fashion trends. I know who made my clothes. Can you identify who made yours? Femininity, Sylvia Staus, she, her, hers. My identity is raised by femininity. I find a lot of strength in the color pink and white. To me, pink represents my creativity, playfulness, and compassion, and the white represents the strength and purity of being a woman. For so many years, I was told to cover up for fear a man would gaze at my exposed skin. This played a lot into my lack of confidence and poor body image. However, by embracing my feminine side, I feel stronger and sexier. The pink sash is tied in a French knot, which to me, like a bow on a present. This brings another level of innocence into my outfit. The sash also helps to break up the busy pattern of my floral slip dress. The end of the sash are kept raw to exemplify the raw emotional ties the women have had to endure over the years. I'm a feminist. I've been a female for a long time now. It'd be stupid not to be on my own side. Mingalaba means hello in Burmese. This purple top is part of my graduation outfit that I wore in Myanmar. Graduation day in Myanmar is a huge occasion for Burmese people. Everyone dresses up in the best clothing they have. I chose the color purple because of its association with royalty. The sequins were hand-stitched by my mom along with the neckline so that I do not need to wear a necklace. I paired the top with a pair of white pants that I found at a thrift store. I painted the pants to match the color of the top. I handmade both the tulle skirt and a pair of earrings that complete this look. This outfit reflects a combination of Burmese graduation culture with a hint of modern style. Metamorphosis, Samantha Tun, she, her, hers. This look is inspired by my family. In the past few years, we've dealt with a loss. The most recent was my father, who I was very close to. The t-shirt I've chosen is a band tee of one of his favorite bands. I paired it with this flannel button-up that was my grandfather's. I've added some patches and pins that helps me stay close to my family while also showing my unique style. I went in with this pair of ripped jeans that add to my edgy, alternative look. I always feel confident in them. I call this look metamorphosis because I feel that after the loss of people very close to me, I am no longer my old self and have morphed into a new and better version. Winterish Urban Delight, Raymond Huber, he, him. My wardrobe represents being one with nature during the winter months in Wisconsin. The recycled lining brings on the positive aura, environmental renewal that is refreshing and sustainable. The brown colors on the coat represent the space of time where fall ends and winter begins. Pink Punk, Olivia Volker, she, her, hers. My garments are a mix of secondhand and store-bought materials, which is how I style myself. Mixing vintage pieces and modern looks create this beautiful silhouette. I created a similar contrasting idea with the powdery pink wool sweater paired with a tall black leather boot. Soft pieces styled with edgy accessories finalized in a fun yet sleek look. My low-waisted thrifted jeans are the eye grabber, while the gold chain attached to the outer seam brought your eyes straight to the bottom half of this look that includes a black leather calf boot that I purchased from Ross. The pink wool cardigan I'm wearing was thrifted and adds a bit of soft texture to the look that is contrary to the strong gold chain details. Caution to the wind. Samantha Jansen, she, her, hers. This look alludes to feeling bold and confident with the right clothing as armor. In this awkward transition back into a society we currently face, we tend to gravitate toward layers as a form of protection. A snakeskin mock neck top adds a prominent texture to the look that is counteracted with a black jacket on the top. Both the top and the pants are from a local secondhand clothing store, and the jacket is reused. Jackets like these are common motifs in a wardrobe that gets repurposed constantly to add cohesion in any outfit. This specific cropped leather jacket is form-fitted with shoulder pads and was handed down from Samantha's aunt, meaning it's close to 30 years old. Since the upper portion of the outfit is quite fitted, it is paired with a fit and a flare pant to accentuate the legs but keep the volume on the bottom. Feminine Edge, Josie Shiraz, she, her, hers. This look, modeled by Josie Shiraz and designed by Olden Larson, is created from multiple thrifted garments. The look includes a white bra and navy blue skirt. The satin and tulle fabric make the outfit poised, yet the navy color and design elements of the corset waist and train of the skirt give this look drama. The navy blue was incorporated into the design because it is Odin's favorite color. This outfit reflects his identity because of the clashing components shown. Little purple dress, Anna everywhere on. She, her, hers. Who knew that a little black dress came in purple? This is a dress you can wear anywhere. Plus, it is easy to put on and take off, making it perfect for travel and adventure. Joan of Arc, Haley McKnight, she, her, hers. Make way for the G-O-D-D-E-S-S. This look is inspired by the Little Mix song Joan of Arc, with lyrics such as, I feel like Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, Queen of Hearts, and I put my own rock on my hand. This song is about female empowerment and the power within you, loving yourself and not needing anyone else in your life to make you feel complete. This dress is sewn from a metallic material with a sexy, feminine silhouette and a high slit to go with the lyric, "Drop it so that your thighs get sore." This dress is created intentionally messy stitching and paired with combat boots to add power and edge, and is topped off with multiple rings. Midnight, Denisha Linton, she, her, hers. Midnight is a three-piece set for women who like to look good on a night out. I created this look because I wanted to step outside the box and challenge myself to try something new. The material used to make this look is a glitter spandex fabric for the skirt and top, and fur for the stole. What inspired me to create this look is the Met Gala. In the future, I can see myself creating looks for celebrities or even creating formal looks in general. I took it up a notch to prove that I have the skills to design and style. I'm ready to take requests to start not only as a fashion stylist, but also as a seamstress. Glamour meets grunge. Emily Bender, she, her, hers. This look, modeled by Emily Bender and designed by Odin Larson, is upcycled from fabrics found at thrift stores. The outfit has two dress styles. The first dress is a velvet sleeveless bodycon silhouette. The second dress is a tulle long sleeve oversized silhouette draped on top. The contrasting styles reflect Emily and Odin's identities combined. Emily's identity is flirty and fun as shown by the bodycon silhouette, while Odin's identity is cutting edge, grunge, demonstrated by the oversized silhouette. I'd like to turn your attention to the screen for a video. Hmong Chinese rainbow princess, Sunshine Vang, she, her, hers. The Hmong are an ethnic group of people with specific language and culture. The Hmong originally came from China with over 4,000 years of history. Beginning in the early 1800s, because of land expansion by the Chinese government, some Hmong left China to move to Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, and Burma. This outfit starts with the shirt having a floral print. The white laces on the collar and the end of the sleeves go down with the folded white skirt that is covered with the mix and match beads. The mix and match beads are called rainbow beads. The rainbow beads have vibrant colors of red, orange, green, yellow, blue, and pink. Sunshine, the model, is wearing a silver Chinese hat, a peacock necklace, and a newly trend Chinese money belt. On her shirt, there's a flower pattern, and if you look closely, there's an elephant pattern, which is vibrant green, which symbolizes the family unit, the foundation of all life and strength. Hmong outfits are handmade or pre-made to be sewn. As for the dangling beads, Hmong women created them and hand-sewn them into the handmade or pre-made pattern ribbons. It would take days to attach the dangling beads to the ribbon. I've seen my mom make Hmong outfits and it would take her days to finish it. In mid-2005, the Southwest Chinese Miao dance hat became trendy for Hmong women outfits. This year, the Chinese silver money belt became a trend to wear around the waist with the cloth belt and bag and the front pattern. The reason why the silver necklace, hat, and belt became important to Hmong outfits because poor Hmong family could not afford silver and pride them. Nikki Nelson, she, her. Classic suiting with military-inspired details and earthy tones. Being visibly queer can create the desire to protect yourself with a form of armor before leaving the home to go out in public. This armor very often comes in the form of clothes. Wearing an outfit you can feel your best in, such as a well-tailored suit, can bolster your sense of self-confidence even in a society that might try to bring you down. This inspired the military-esque elements in my clothes. Combined with a suit, provides a sense of power and protection. When I was creating this collection, I took time in picking each element from the fabric to thread. I spent a week designing and drafting the sewing patterns. I created and tailored everything from scratch to create a personalized and well-fitted garment. Doing all this helped me realize how much I love creating something from nothing. I once heard a quote that said, "You're always wearing designer when you're wearing your own creations." It is an immensely powerful statement. I always think of that statement when it comes to creating something new. I'm excited for this journey and to be able to share my work with you. Dior inspiration, Indra, she, her, hers. This outfit is inspired by Dior's signature designs. I spent less than $15 to put this outfit together. I do not believe that people need to spend thousands of dollars to feel confident or be able to achieve a runway high-end fashion look. The earrings for this outfit are from my small business, Indra's Crafts collections. They are handmade by me and are inspired by the Pride flag. Breakfast at Tiffany's, Anna Everywhere Home. This outfit is so comfy and easy. The pants have pockets and I must have pockets. It is sophisticated and stylish and fun. The purse is roomy and easy to carry with a snap closure. The hat and handbag and a subtle touch of color. The garments are handpicked and styled at Upshift Swap Shop. Flawless Flaws, Diamond J. White. My look is elegantly goofy and sexy. I am a nicely dressed woman with a hint of diamond. Although I can't buy all new in-fashion clothes, I make it work with what I got. Not only do I dress to impress myself, but I dress to show my good eye and personality. My necklace shows the elegant glam that I need to put together my outfit. The dress is slim, which is good for a nice dinner or meeting. The dress also shows that I am good with looking professional. The hat shows an old-fashioned style, which I absolutely love. I feel like I have an old soul based on how I was raised. Our golden era, Maya, she, her, hers. To me, the beauty of secondhand fashion is the timelessness of the art we make with it. I find my most authentic look in the collage of influences I have absorbed throughout my life. This look is a combination of upcycled community apparel, family remnants, and treasures collected in the passing of neighbors. In these clothes, I feel not only myself, but the common thread that connects us all. Shedding my skin, Christina Calise, she, her. I used to be so insecure until I finally started wearing clothes that I liked and that made me feel good. I started to find my confidence through fashion. In turn, that has played a big part in me learning how to love myself. I am wearing a snakeskin tight-fitted crop top. This pattern makes me stand out, which is something I was afraid of before. I paired this with my black skinny jeans that show off my silhouette. The shoes I picked to complete this outfit are shiny brown heel boots. These are not your typical black color, which makes them unique. Plus, the heels gives my walk that little extra something. 2 years ago, I would have never worn this. Fashion has helped me in many ways, and showing my true self is one of them. Pop fashion, Talia Habera. I chose an outfit that was especially colorful because I love pop culture and colorful fashion. I found the perfect pink blazer and built the whole outfit around it. The rainbow crop top is my favorite because it displays my pride for the LGBTQIA plus community. The entire outfit is thrifted. I appreciate sustainable fashion. Lastly, the shoes are very grounded because they are black, chunky, and made of fake leather material. Printed pressure, Nina Falou. Expressing femininity through prints, textiles, and styles, I purposely use pieces that accentuate my body and features since they are the first impression. I am wearing a white ribbed bodycon dress so that my accessories are the main focus. The headscarf, purse, and boots are thrifted from St. Vinny's on Willie Street. The animal print and colors of brown and beige tie the entire look together. The subtlety of each piece paired with the boldness each incorporates creates a style that shows my expression of femininity. Let me be myself. Nikki Martinez, she, her, hers. Creating this look gave me the space to express myself in an artistic manner to share a little bit about myself and my interests. In addition to my interests in fashion design, I'm also passionate about fine art. Therefore, I incorporated both by displaying fine art in my outfit. I included one of my very own paintings that I placed in the center of my t-shirt. One of my strengths is painting portraits in black and white using a touch of color to enhance the contrast. Next, I upcycled a pair of jeans by adding a black and white floral print pattern that is located from the knee to the hem of my jeans. This allows my pants to emulate a coloring book theme. I also filled some blank spots by using colorful fabric markers. For the back pockets of my jeans, I added a leather pattern fabric. I upcycled a pair of plain black boots and added green paint and rhinestones to the heels. Lastly, I used my backpack as my choice of accessory. I added a horoscope constellation symbol and placed the words Capricorn on the bag. Notice the colors red and green? These are my favorite colors. Being born on Christmas may have inspired my love for these two colors. Bravery shines within. Shahida Munishi. My look represents older Albanian traditional clothing. It includes a longer sleeve dress with matching pants worn underneath. An apron is worn on top to tie it all together. I also decided to modernize it and make it fit my style by adding a hijab and pants, but also using different types of fabric. I recycled an old blazer from Upshift to make the apron. All of this reflects my identity by capturing my Albanian heritage with the overall style of the outfit, but also incorporating the fact that I am a Muslim woman who is proud of her modesty. She is, in the end, brave enough to present herself the way she does. World class, diamond white. My look is a beautiful tan dress with a peach salmon cape attached. I'm a bit extra, so I absolutely love the cape. The dress is bright with style. I added the belt to add more shape, which in my opinion is just what the dress needs. I am 20 years old. I am happy and bright. I am a mother. This outfit defines my strength through pain. It is feel good and look great kind of thing. Queen, Denisha Linton. Queen is for women's empowerment. The sharp edge on the right shoulder is to show the amount of strength that women have, and the soft tone on the left shoulder is to show that they also have the soft heart. The rhinestone embroidered snakes show no matter how many battles sneak upon us queens, they will never break us because regardless of the battle, we will win. As a little girl watching cartoons and princess movies, I thought being a woman was easy. I also thought that in order to be a queen, you will have to be part of a royal family. But now, growing up into a woman and a mother, I realized all women are queens. We all have fought many battles, and no woman is better than another. We all must stick together and build unity. The world tears us down enough. Let's show our strength to show that no one will break our empowerment. And if you're a woman or any person in this building, please, we have a little bit of activity. Let's repeat this with me. Ready, everybody? No matter how many thrones are thrown at me, no matter how many thrones are thrown at me, come on, say it with me, people. One more time. No matter how many stones are thrown at me, you will have no idea how I make it because those thrones will not take me down as a queen. All right, good job, everybody.
Are they amazing or what? Oh my gosh. Congratulations, everyone, and thank you, everyone, for being here. And for our virtual audience, we're also live streaming as well. Lots of exciting new things, for sure. Take a bow. There you go. Congratulations, everyone. The amazing, amazing. Embrace your identity. Thank you so much for coming today. Enjoy. Have a great opportunity to meet your family and your friends and everyone else here and embrace your identity and embrace all of us. Thank you.